So it's probably.
Good afternoon and welcome to the regularly scheduled City Commission meeting for Tuesday, April the 9th. If you would, please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Can we have a call for attendance, please?
Commissioner Thomas.
Here.
Commissioner Pruitt.
Here.
Commissioner Witt.
Here.
Commissioner Bowles.
Here.
Mayor State.
Here. And as we get started, we have some special guests in the room with us. And Buzzy, would you like to introduce who we've got with us, sir?
Colin, would you like to bring your newly promoted Mr. Are you a lieutenant colonel or a colonel?
No, I'm a captain, but thank you for the promotion.
I think
Now,
we
you
have
should have flexed it on my check.
a guy in the back that is a retired. Are you a colonel in the Air Force?
Wow. One day, sir, it's a pipe dream for me.
So could you bring Captain Park with you?
Yes.
So, Collie, do you mind to share with the Board of Commissioners and the public the recently announced Green River IRT program?
Yes, so the Green River Area Wellness IRT mission was a project that was a partnership between the military, the Delta Regional Authority, and the City of Henderson to bring no-cost medical, dental, and optometry care, as well as veterinary care to the City of Henderson this summer. There's going to be a 2-week no-cost clinic operated out of South Middle School. We were at the middle school this morning. We've been to Deaconess Hospital. We just came from there, coordinating all kinds of different community partners to help assist with this project to offer these services within the City of Henderson. And this is Captain Chris Park, who is our Deputy Program Manager for the IRT project. IRT stands for Innovative Readiness Training, and he will tell you about what the IRT program is and the methodology behind why they do this out in the community and talk about some of the good that they've done with past missions and what we hope to do this summer here in Henderson.
Okay, first and foremost, thank you so much for having me here. I'm Captain Chris Park from IRT, which is Integrated Readiness Training from the Air National Guard. I am the Deputy Program Manager, and we're very thrilled to be in Henderson, Kentucky. Actually, Cody did a great job of explaining what IRT is. It's a no-cost service that we're going to be providing here for 2 weeks. But I think the most important part that I want to address to everyone is that we don't check any IDs, so anyone can come. So we're talking, kids to adults. We don't check any IDs, no insurance, so anyone can get medical care for medical, dental, and optometry. And we're also going to have remote aerial medical who will be fabricating eyeglasses on site at the middle school. And we're very excited about that to provide that service for the community here at no cost. And it'll be from June 13th to the 27th this summer.
Do you mind to give a little background what IRT actually does, not only for the community, but for the military? And can you give some numbers of how many people we could expect here from the military?
Absolutely, I think that's a great question. First and foremost, IRT, the way it came out, it started out back in 1992. And I'll give you an example. It sparked off us doing CE missions where we would build houses and get credentialed by, requirements for our engineers. However, one thing we realized that we were building houses for military training, and what's the sad part? We would just tear them down. So what we decided to do is, why can't we partner up with the local community so we could build these structures, and it's a win-win situation for military to get its training as well as the local community to reap the benefits. So after that, we started doing medical missions where our medical providers are getting training, our even nurses, doctors, dentists, and optometrists, and then we serve the local community by providing no-cost medical health services for the local community. And we've been doing extremely well. We only do it in the United States, and right now this year we're projected to do about 16 medical missions. We're doing more next year. And for this, I would say for Henderson, Kentucky, we're looking about 1,500 patients. Now, if we get highly involved with PA and we get a lot of the advertisements out, we would love to see a line. Because, for us to get medical training and to help out the community, the more people, the better. So thank you for having me here. And also, I would love to get the word out as soon as possible so we could attract more people that are in need.
Could you give it a date again?
Yes, June 13th to the 27th.
The clinic is the 15th to the 25th.
Yes.
The 15th through the 25th for the
The
clinic?
15th to the
15th,
25th are the dates for the actual clinic. The military will get there a few days before and a few days after to set up and then tear down.
Yes, sir. And I do want to emphasize one more time is that we don't check any IDs. We don't turn away anyone. If you're willing, we will accept anyone. So please keep that in mind.
So 175 potential military staff
Yes, sir.
into the community. Part of our duty as local is to help provide social interaction in the community after their medical care hours. Holly and others are helping with that. I think the other thing that we're providing to them is something that we had requested after the fact was veterinarian services, so they will have a spay and neuter clinic. Again, is no questions asked, bring them in.
Absolutely.
Today, we discussed even reaching out to our counterparts in our adjoining counties to invite them as well. So if this is a great success, which I believe it will be a good story to tell not only for Henderson, but our fellow neighbors. And I believe the readiness is something that they need prepared for, whether it's in wartime or if it's in civil disaster, things of that nature. So it's been great. I will say Captain Park has been here since day one, along with a few of his other key staff members. And you are from New York
Yes, sir.
City.
Yes, sir.
So what do you do during the day?
So,
Normally, your normal job.
well, so I'm an executive recruiter for corporate law firms in New York. That's what I do on a full-time basis. But I really got the bug of IRT, and I just love to serve. And that's why I'm here. And I just really fell in love with IRT, and it's like a hidden secret. And the thing is that a lot of people don't know about IRT. And look I'm in Henderson, Kentucky, and I was here in October. And just to let you guys know, on behalf of myself as a deputy program manager for IRT as well as Air National Guard, you guys have opened us up with open arms since October. And I tell all my leadership in the Pentagon as well as in Washington, D.C., I always say IRT, it's like a marriage, it's a partnership. And we can't do this without you all and as well as the community. So as much as the military are bringing the manpower as well as the equipment, we can't fulfill this training without the community. So I want to be equally, we're very thankful and blessed to be here. And what we're getting from the community has been amazing. That's why we're so excited. And I want to also address the fact that I know we're going to do this for FY24. I think with the help of Buzzy as well as Coley, I think it's going to be a huge success. I don't want this to be a one-time thing. I think there's a lot of work to be done in Kentucky, and I definitely want to spread the wealth. And maybe, down the line we could do more sites. Right now we're doing one. Maybe we could do two, and maybe we could do three. So we could, spread out and capture and help as much as possible.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yes.
So on June 20th is a special day
Yes.
during y'all's program here. Can you share that with them as well?
Yeah. So June 20th is our DV Day, which is Distinguished Visitors Day. I don't know why I'm going. I'm just a captain, but you guys, we're definitely working on the invitation now. But please, pencil that in your calendar. We would love to have you all join us. That's the day where we kind of showcase IRT. You'll have the New York tag. You'll have people from Pentagon. A lot of our distinguished visitors from the military side will be there. And I would love all of you to be there. And you could also invite all your legal dignitaries and politicians that need to be there as well. We would love them to be there. It'll be a great day on June 20th.
Is there a time of day that's going to be better on June 20th?
Yes, so we're finalizing the agenda now. It will be at middle school. We'll probably start around 8:30, and it'll probably go towards lunch. And after lunch, it'll be done. And then we'll do a tour, just as for you guys to see the patient care site. And there'll be live patients getting service, so you guys will get a tour of that. And then we'll wrap it up with the lunch with everyone. And then we'll have an award ceremony as well.
Wonderful. Do we have any more questions?
No, it sounds great. Yeah, it's
We
awesome.
we very much appreciate you all being in our community. And and we love giving you the opportunity to train, and we love the benefit that you're giving to our community as well. Couldn't say enough good things about you being here. And throughout your stay, both since October and through the end of your stay and after, if you need anything at all, I'm sure that Buzzy, our city manager, will continue to make himself available. He's been a big proponent of you guys coming in the first place. And Holly you're coordinating a lot of the efforts on our behalf. And so thank you for doing that too. We really appreciate it. And thank you for coming today and sharing a little bit more information. We appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, and I know we're definitely working with the A team here, so thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Hey, we'll get your promotion in.
Thank you.
All right, thank you all.
Thank you. All right, I think we might have, we leave a space carved out on our agenda for new employees. If we have any new employees that could come up to the podium. Oh, we got a whole batch of new employees. All right.
I'll do a couple of them here, so
All
it's going to be
right.
hard to follow.
That's right.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is Cameron Powell. He's a water treatment operator at our South Water Plant. He's been with us for about 3 weeks. Is that correct? Training at our North Water Plant. Really glad to have him. So, yeah, welcome. Thank you. Mr. David Gilbert, he's a familiar face. He spent about 10 years with us and left for a couple of years to go to another industry here in town. And he's a maintenance technician with us, and glad to have him back. He's a very valuable asset for us. So, yeah. Thank you.
And kind of on the other end of the spectrum, I'm presenting with you here today with Trey Settle. This is his second day on the job as opposed to 10 years.
right.
But we're still excited to have him over in the Parks and Recreation Department. We're cross-training him across several different divisions, so you can expect to see quite a bit of him.
All right, well, we want to take this opportunity just to welcome all of our new employees. The city's a really great place to work, and our water utility and our electric utility, gas utility, all those. We've got great pay and excellent benefits, and most importantly, we've got a really good team of department heads and leadership throughout the city that we currently have, and with our utilities as well. So we just wanted to take this time to welcome you, and in some cases, welcome you back to the city of Henderson, and we really appreciate you coming to work for us. At this time, is there anyone in the room who would like to speak with the commission about a matter that is not on the agenda? All right, seeing none, we're going to move on into the consent agenda.
The consent agenda contains the minutes of March 20th, 2024 special called meeting, which was a public hearing, the March 26th, 2024 regular meeting, and March 28th, 2024 special called meeting. Resolution 15-24, resolution approving human resources report dated April 9th, 2024. Resolution 16-24, resolution authorizing submittal of a fiscal year 24 State Homeland Security Grant Program application, and upon approval, authorize the mayor to enter into an agreement with the Kentucky Office of Homeland Security to execute any documents which are deemed necessary to KOHS to facilitate and administer the project, and to act as the authorized correspondent for the project, and establishing a procurement policy for any KOHS approved project for the fiscal 24 application cycle. And Municipal Order 29-24, municipal order approving property lease between the City of Henderson and Allstate Tower Incorporated for property located on 5th Street, and authorizing the mayor to execute the lease on behalf of the city.
All right, before we get a motion, are there any items that any commissioner would like to pull off the consent agenda for further discussion? Hearing none, I'll take a motion to approve.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas,
Aye.
Commissioner Pruitt,
Aye.
Commissioner Whitt,
Aye.
Commissioner Vowles,
Aye.
Mayor Staten.
Aye. Next up, we have a first reading of a zoning ordinance pertaining to short-term rental property.
Excuse me. Ordinance number 15-24, ordinance amending Appendix A zoning relating to short-term rental property. Ordinance amending Article 2 definitions, Section 2.01 definitions, adding Section 4.40 short-term rental property to Article 4 general provisions and amending Article 11 R1 single-family residential district, Section 11.03 conditional uses, Article 16 RMH manufactured home district, Section 16.03 conditional uses, Article 17 RO residential office district, Section 17.03 conditional uses, Article 18 NB Neighborhood Business District, Section 18.02, permitted uses. Article 22 R5 Urban Single Family Residential District, Section 22.03, conditional uses. Article 30 Riverfront Zone, Section 30.03A, permitted uses. Section 30.05C, conditional uses. Article 31, Audubon Residential District, Section 31.03, permitted uses, paragraph 2, conditional uses. Article 32, Audubon Commercial District, Section 32.03, permitted uses, paragraph 2, conditional uses. Article 33, Gateway Zone District, Section 33.06, permitted uses, paragraph 3, conditional uses. Article 34, Henderson Innovative Planning District, Section 34.02, permitted uses, paragraph 2, conditional uses, and Article 35, RSMH Residential Subdivided Manufactured Home District, Section 35.03, conditional uses of Appendix A zoning of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Henderson relating to short-term rental property.
Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any need to have it reread? Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas.
Aye.
Commissioner Pruitt.
Aye.
Commissioner Whitt.
Aye.
Commissioner Vowles.
Aye.
Mayor Staten.
Aye. Next up, we have an
Oh,
ordinance.
crap.
Yeah, this is the big one. Yeah, that was just an appetizer in case you guys were wondering. Next up, we have an ordinance amending mid-year fiscal 2024 budget.
Okay, so I'm going to apologize way in the front because I may not make it all the way through this. Ordinance number 16-24, ordinance amending budget and appropriation ordinance. An ordinance amending budget and appropriation ordinance for the fiscal year commencing July 1st, 2023 and ending June 30th, 2024 for the city of Henderson, Kentucky. Whereas on June 13th, 2023, the city of Henderson adopted its annual budget and appropriation ordinance for the fiscal year commencing July 1st, 2023 and ending June 30th, 2023, being ordinance number 14-23. And whereas the city manager recommends that the following additional amendments be adopted. Now therefore be it ordained by the city of Henderson, Kentucky, that ordinance number 14-23 is amended as follows. Number 1, administration, $4,159,720. Finance, $3,157,070. Parks and Recreation, $9,051,670. I'm sorry, that was fire, was $9,051,670, yeah. Parks and Recreation, $1,933,680. Police, $9,856,710. Public Works, $3,357,810. Information Technology, $1,062,750. Other, $1,950,590. Transfers, $6,669,000. Total, $41,199,000. Number 2, there is hereby appropriated from the general and special fund accounts of the city of Henderson and allocated to the various funds of the city the following amounts. General fund expenditure total, $34,530,000. Transfer to PWI, $1,410,000. Transfer to Mass Transit, $556,000. Transfer to Construction Fund, $1,869,000. Transfer to Emergency Communications, $676,000. Transfer to Police and Fire Pension, $333,000. Transfer to Civil Service Pension, $74,000. Transfer to Cemetery, $320,000. Transfer to Bond Fund, $1,431,000. Total General Fund, $41,199,000. Natural Gas Fund, $22,544,000. Health Reimbursement Arrangements, $250,000. Civil Service Pension Fund, $80,000. Police and Fire Pension Fund, $333,000. Cemetery Fund, $618,000. Health Insurance Fund, $9,256,000. Bond Fund, $8,700,000. Public Way Improvement Fund, $2,162,000. Construction Fund, $27,224,000. Heart Operating Fund, $1,840,000. Sanitation Fund, $5,755,000. Emergency Construction Fund, $1,851,000. Tourism Commission Fund, $265,000. Community Development Fund, $680,000. Police Investigation Fund, $102,000. Number 3, the number and classifications of the city employees as recited in the annual budget is approved as presented. Number 4, the city manager is authorized to hire an additional 2 police officers when it is deemed necessary by the chief of police and the city manager due to the length of the training necessary for this position. Number 5, the city manager is authorized to hire an additional 1 firefighter when it is deemed necessary by the fire chief and the city manager due to the length of training necessary for this position. Number 6, the city manager is authorized to hire additional non-hazardous duty personnel for key positions when deemed necessary for succession training purposes, and the expenditures for the additional hires do not exceed the appropriations granted. Number 7, this ordinance shall be effective as of July 1st, 2023. This ordinance of amendment shall become effective upon its legal adoption.
Wonderful job. Let me give you a second.
Second that.
Good. Do we have a motion to approve? Do we have a second?
Second.
Do we have any comments, questions, suggestions? Are you ready for a roll call?
I am.
You run through that again.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas.
Aye.
Commissioner Pruitt.
Aye.
Commissioner Whitt.
Aye.
Commissioner Bowles.
Aye.
Mayor Staten.
Aye. Next up, we have an ordinance regarding annexation.
Ordinance number 17-24, ordinance regarding annexation, an ordinance annexing certain unincorporated territory to the city of Henderson, Kentucky, located in Henderson County near the intersection of Old Corridon Road and Kentucky Highway 425 bypass, containing parcel ID number 46-10, which is address 2340 Old Corridon Road, and consisting of approximately 56.250 acres.
We have a motion to approve.
Move.
Second.
We have a motion to approve, second Thomas. Any comments, questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas.
Aye.
Commissioner Pruitt.
Aye.
Commissioner Whitt.
Aye.
Commissioner Bowles.
Aye.
Mayor Staten.
Aye. Next up, we have a municipal order awarding a bid for asphalt paving.
Municipal order number 30-24, municipal order awarding bid for purchase of asphalt paving and related street maintenance services to EMB Paving LLC of Chandler, Indiana, in the amount of $1,516,390.
Do we have a motion to approve?
Moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Buzzy, do you mind to explain on a budgetary basis what we're doing with the asphalt and road materials this year and on into the future?
I'm gonna kick that can to Dylan Ward.
All right, Dylan.
I was just waiting for the nod to come up, so.
So I just wanted to point out in January, we had a discussion about a lot of different goals and objectives for the city, stuff like that, and road funding came up quite a bit. Dylan, do you mind to tell us on a budgetary basis what we're doing a little different this year and on into the future?
Yeah.
As it relates to road paving?
Yeah, so I think, and Brian, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the current fiscal year budget for asphalt paving is $600,000, and that comes, that's what we do annually for paving. And it's actually increased over the last few years. I remember when I first started, it was around 400,000. So we have been increasing it slowly, and in particular, the last couple of years, we've increased that. We've also been doing some more paving in our parks, in some of our parking lots and parks themselves and in the roadways, so that's been an improvement. And I think the intent is for the next few years, we're going to continue to increase that by a certain percentage. So I think next year's budget, we're actually looking at 630. Does that sound right, Brian? 630,000. So I think the mayor's intent and city managers and our intent is just to slowly increase that to keep up with inflation. You don't see in my memo in front of you, and if you look at the bid tab sheet, you'll see it. But when we rebid paving a couple years ago, there was a pretty sharp increase. We went from about $79 to $99 a ton for the surface ton that we used. I think this year it increased by about another 10%. So really, we kind of have to keep increasing that budget just to be able to lay the same amount of tonnage that we have in the past. And hopefully, with the economy, kind of slowing down a little bit as far as like pricing and inflation, hopefully we can start to gain a little bit of ground by increasing our budget on that. So that's kind of the intent, is just to increase the budget slowly over the next few years so we can, at a minimum, keep doing the same amount of paving, but hopefully eventually be able to do more.
Thank you. It's a lot of times whenever the news comes out, a lot of the bigger projects that we fund or involved in, they're kind of picked up and make the headlines. But I just wanted to make sure that the commission knew and we all, and everybody knows that our core services are very important to us. And road funding is one of those. And so that's something we're going to continue to take a look at and continue to increase into the future so that our road, how we take care of our roads doesn't fall off. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
We had
Dylan,
go ahead, Rob. No.
Dylan, this may, you or Brian, do you know how much we recycle on our asphalt?
Yeah, so when we go to pave a street, typically if it's got curb and gutter, if it's anywhere we want to keep the elevation the same, we have to mill off, right? So if we just kept paving on top of it, we would eventually have, 6 inches of asphalt higher than what we were previously, which would cause all sorts of problems. So we typically mill off the top 1.5 inches. Charbon has been our milling contractor for the last several years. We typically provide the trucks. They mill it for us. They fill our trucks, and then Public Works uses that for a whole host of things. If we ask them to provide a truck, sometimes they'll take it and they'll give it back to the asphalt companies and they'll recycle that in their mix. But more times than not, what we do with it is we use it to help build parking lots and things that necessarily we're not going to pay. We basically use it as rock. So anywhere that we need rock, maybe the alleys, Brian, I don't know where else. The landfill we use a lot.
The landfill, our water utilities used it. We kind of jointly use that. They've made some new laydown yards for storing their materials, so we've had uses for it.
Yeah, we built where the current location is for PCMA several years ago. We dumped all kinds of tons out there and kind of expanded their parking lot. So to answer your question, pretty much all of it gets repurposed. Is maybe the best way to put it. So.
Yeah, I noticed there's sidewalks across from Park Field. Just put in.
Yes. So.
Yeah.
So kind of relate. So I think we're doing the same thing I think with concrete that we are with asphalt. So we're trying to we have been slowly increasing that budget. It's tended to be more like a couple years we won't, then we'll kind of take another big stair step. And I think the intent is to do the same with concrete as we have with paving. But one of the things that we've started doing in the last 2 or 3 years really is, so our concrete repair budget is about $300,000. And unlike the paving budget actually has a list. So we know we're going to spend this much money on each street. Well, concrete, what we do is a lot of times is we know what we have in the city that we need to fix, but we also get calls and complaints about things that we need to fix. And so that $300,000 goes towards repairing existing concrete streets and also repairing existing sidewalks. So what we've started doing is adding $100,000 into the budget for the last few years for new sidewalks. So the sidewalk that's being added on North Elm Street right now is coming from that $100,000. And then if y'all also might have noticed when I'm talking about sidewalks, the work being done on Mill Street, the new sidewalk there, and that money is coming from the inner city improvement plan. So we've got a lot of sidewalk projects going on. We've got 2 more sidewalk projects planned that are going to start occurring either this summer or this fall. So we've got a lot of good things going on in terms of infrastructure improvements.
Dylan, I got one more. I keep getting a call like every 6-7 months. This one guy, and he's talking about North Adams.
Okay.
There's no sidewalk. There's a little piece round about, I guess, 7th Street up in that area. As we go down further, going toward the, housing, projects there, and going on up toward the trailer, complex up there, there's no sidewalks at all. He said there's some guys that, I guess, ride a wheelchair on electrical scooter things, and he said he's almost hit, that guy a couple times at night because he's had to ride in the street.
Yeah, okay, we'll certainly take a look at that. And those are the kind of comments we really like to hear, because if we know that there's a place where access is restricted, we tend to move those to the top of the list, because those are really important. So.
Up on North Adams, it's never been, right there, it's never been a sidewalk
Yeah.
to get you from there, what, to about 11?
Well, I tell you, there's history behind that goes back probably 15 years. Initially, we started sidewalks down around Fifth, carried it all the way up to 840 North Adams, and then north of 840 North Adams, which is part of the Housing Authority complex. What we've run into is right-of-way issues as well as drainage issues, which is going to be somewhat significant once we start touching it. But again, we had that I'd say at least 10 years ago. It was on our list, and we got about half done, and that's when we ran into the problems of all the drainage issues and right-of-way issues. And I want to go back to Commissioner Thomas on North Elm Street. They've had to stop there where that new housing project's going in, and they're going to have to wait until it's finished before we can go any further. But we're going to run into right-of-way issues north of that we're going to have to go out and actually acquire right-of-way to continue the sidewalk in that direction. So I think the best thing to do on North Adams is go back and add that to the list.
Yeah, go back and look at it.
And then one other sidewalk project, as y'all know, that we have built new sidewalks from Green Street along Sand Lane to the Housing Authority there on Madison. And now we're going to connect South Main Street to Green Street along Sand Lane as part of this year's work. So there'll be, what we're looking for is connectivity.
Yeah, and then we're looking to do the final connection there at Fairground across the road where we kind of stop where that big ditch is. We're hoping to get to that this summer.
That's a federal project.
Yeah, with CDBG money.
Good deal. Any other questions or comments for Dylan? Dylan, don't go too far, because I
Yep.
imagine we'll have you back up in this
I'll
next
hang out
item.
right here.
I think we have a motion and a second. Is that correct?
Yes.
Can you do a roll call, please?
Commissioner Thomas?
Aye.
Commissioner Pruitt?
Aye.
Commissioner Witt?
Aye.
Commissioner Bowles?
Aye.
Mayor Staten?
Aye. Next up, we have a municipal order approving a sports complex change order.
Municipal order number 31-24, municipal order approving change order number 1 to the award of bid reference 24-02 for the purchase and installation of trees for the city's sports complex to Stalkers Landscaping LLC.
Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Dylan, you want to come tell us a little bit more about that, please?
Yes, so I'll explain what's going on here. So back in February, well, in January, we opened bids for the purchase of 400 evergreen trees that are about 5 to 6 feet tall. It's a lot of trees. Part of the reason we limited it to 400 was because we've never installed that many trees before or received that many trees at once. And in our communications with some of the vendors, we thought that was a safe place to start. And we thought, well, if we got 400 installed and we needed more, then we would come back and do a few more. And so we got the first 400 planted. They look great. But what we did was in certain areas, we staggered them. So and I think there's some pictures in the agenda. And so those look really good, and they actually provide a little bit more privacy because we spaced them about 10 feet apart. So then when you have one in the middle offset, it only is about 5 feet apart. And then we did some in a single row. And what we found is that the single row, while it still looks good, it doesn't provide that screening and privacy that we really would like to provide, and especially because part of the area where we provided just the single row is up closer to the road and kind of in the corner adjacent to the neighborhood. And so we figured that adding a couple hundred additional trees would allow us to do double row all the way down. And so far we've had good luck with the trees. So basically, it wasn't a unit price bid, but if you take the bid amount of 29 and change and you divide it by 400, it was basically $75 a tree. And so they agreed to honor that same price for an additional 200 trees. So if you look at the breakdown in the memo, basically there's $14.9 for 200 more trees, and then there's some money in there. Some of the things that we didn't originally include that we have since realized that we needed are the staking of the trees as well as the mulching of the trees. The stakes we had a pretty big windstorm the other day. All the trees survived, but we don't want to put them through a bunch of that the first couple of years. We want to make sure, it's a big investment, and this is a small price to make sure that they'll survive. The mulching serves two purposes. The one is it helps moisture stay and it helps the trees survive. But the other thing it did, which Andy Rideout was very helpful with kind of convincing me to do it, is that it also forces the mowing equipment to stay so far away from the trees. He said if you don't put that mulch down, you're pretty much guaranteed to lose 10% of your trees just from mowing damage and people getting too close to it. So those are kind of a couple ancillary costs that we're recommending in addition to the 200 additional trees.
All right, does anybody have any questions or comments for Dylan on this? Before we get to the roll call, and while we're on the subject of sports complex, we have had a lot of reason to celebrate bringing money back into the community lately. And one that's been flying under the radar, I wanted to talk about while we're talking about the sports complex. So we've got the state gave us the money for the convention center or conference center to get that thing started. And we got the Anthony Brooks Park money. We got the money, the grant for the IRT program. One thing that kind of flew under the radar, Buzzy, do you mind to mention something else that we received from the state in regards to the sports complex?
Yes, we were notified last week by Senator Mills that, if y'all remember, we had conversations about turning lanes into the sports complex. Probably a $2 million project, I believe.
About that.
And Senator Mills and Representative Dixon were kind enough to introduce that and get that into the 2-year road plan. 2 years. So they're passing that budget now, so we should see that funding probably in the next 2 to 3 years. The only thing we don't know is who's going to handle that project, whether we do it or they do it. But the fact remains, it's in the 2-year program and not the 20-year program. So many thanks to our elected state officials for bringing money back to Henderson, and thank you for helping work on it. And I think it's going to provide a much safer ingress and egress of our sports complex once it's built out.
And we've built the complex to date with that in mind. If you actually go out there, you can see kind of about a 12-foot plateau beside the road where hopefully that future expansion will go.
Good deal. Well, thank you for the update. We've got a motion and a second on this particular ordinance. Can we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Thomas?
Aye.
Commissioner Pruitt?
Aye.
Commissioner Wick?
Aye.
Commissioner Bowles?
Aye.
Mayor State?
Aye, and I said ordinance, I meant municipal order, sorry about that. City managers report.
Got a couple items, and one not on the list, but the first has to do with the zoning classification in conjunction with 2340 Old Cordon Road and Highway 425 bypass. As y'all know, that is the Bentley farm, and as y'all just approved that, so there's a 21-day period if we have any objections to that. Second item is a follow-up to a public citizen request with regards to property located on West Main Street. And most people in here don't know where that is, but it's actually a unimproved road at Jackson Street, and it actually runs back to the north toward the granary. Used to be housing back in there back in the probably turn of the 20th century. All those homes now mostly are gone. There's still a few abandoned homes back there. However, this individual pointed out to us that there was a parcel of land that used to be part of the electric utility distribution system. And so when that gentleman asked how and when can that property be disposed of, we shared that with y'all, and today what I would like to do, and I want to mention Brad Beckett's here, and working with his staff, we've identified numerous vacated properties that the electric company, and if you've noticed, I said electric company, I can't always say prior to Hempel that that distribution belonged to the electric utility, which I don't know when Hempel came into existence, but I would believe it was in the 50s. And I think a lot of these locations were prior to Hempel coming into legal existence. So what I'm asking for today, and I will pass it out to y'all for any comments you may have back to me, but what I'm recommending is that we actually advertise some of those properties either for sealed bids or put up for public auction. Now, I'd probably recommend sealed bids on the ones for recommendation. It'll be much easier than having a public auction. A lot of the properties are in the public right-of-way or in a railroad right-of-way, which if no action is required at this time.
So are you saying that we own it?
Well, yes.
Okay.
Legally,
Yeah.
it's in the city of Henderson's name, as far as we can determine, and I think Mr. Bickett would agree with that comment, so.
But Brad, since you're here, I got one question. Have you, where are we at on the installation subsidies for homeowners and stuff? Have you moved on it anymore?
We have.
If you don't mind, can you come up to, sorry. Just so we can make sure everybody hears you at home. Thank you, sir.
Brad Bickett, manager, Henderson Power and Light. So yes, we just presented that program to the board, our utility board, last month. And so we plan to get it put out there on our website, shared maybe on our Facebook page very soon. So yes, it's in place. We've got the documents and everything put together, and so we're excited to put that out there very soon. So we've got a little bit of a qualification piece, a step to go through, and then we'll be paying for installation where there's not sufficient insulation in attic areas for residential customers.
My wife keeps saying, you see that guy that came out here at the time? What about this place? I said, he's working on something.
Yes, we are.
Thank you, Brad.
You're a favorite person now.
So back to the conversation, if it's acceptable, we will proceed forward with disposing of the property. We will have to bring back the sealed bids for approval by the commission. But if no questions, we'll proceed forward in that direction.
Do we need any kind of formal action or just an indication?
Indication.
Indication, okay. What do you all think as far as allowing that to proceed? Everybody okay with that? Yeah, I think it does too. I think it does too.
One last item under city manager's report. There won't be a work session in April. Do want to make a reminder, maybe we will have a budget work session. And the last item that I need to bring to y'all is the IRT program. And you heard basically what Captain Park said. So when we applied for this grant, there were a lot of unknowns. And one thing that we've discovered, we're going to use their acronyms. I don't know what it stands for, but the RAM program is the optometry side of things. Okay? And part of their coming here, they're bringing their mobile lab, will be providing glasses and lenses, which we hope with the Lions Club that we can partner with them to be volunteers and help get out to the public this offer. Well, the optometrists with the RAM program don't follow the same guidelines as regular military. So we're having to make housing accommodations and food accommodations for them while they're here. So what I'm asking for is just a nod of support that there will be some expenses for the IRT program. And it's not a great number, but I do feel like, Holly, we have some other issues we've got to deal with, but guessing it will be less than $20,000, and we would clean this up. Chelsea, probably in our final budget amendment that we do for this fiscal year. But it is an unappropriated item, but since we're now on top of it and some of the unknown things are coming out, we're just asking for your support to fund those activities.
You need a official motion.
Just nod of approval,
Oh, yeah.
everybody's okay.
At least we could do, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a really good opportunity for the community.
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty excited that we're having it.
That's all I have.
All right, I think we do have something on the city attorney's report for today.
Good evening. We brought this to you all at the end of January. We took your all's note. We went back. This is on parking. And so kind of wanted to go through with you all what our final ordinance that we'll bring to you next city commission meeting will look like to make sure that there are no other tweaks we need to make. And I'm not working. All right. So we will be repealing sections 22 through 53. It's the removal of chalk marks. We don't use chalk marks anymore. And then the big one is the scatter ticket. We'll repeal scatter tickets. Disabled parking, we had always defaulted to the state law, but we added this, we're going to add this to our new ordinance to make it a lot easier for Nancy to be able to enforce it on a local level. So that's for our disabled parking spaces downtown. We changed the fines. If you all remember, it was a 5-day, it was 5 days, and we changed that to 10 days. So now you have 10 days in which you pay your fines, and after that, they double. We added a user-friendly chart, which I'll show you. We also included the Second Street boat and water trailer fines to that ordinance, as well as our oversized trucking parking violation to that fine schedule. That way, when people come in and they want to see the fine schedule, it'll all be in one place instead of all over the place. So, our overtime parking, that's over 3 hours. The new fine will be $10, and if paying after 10 days, $20. Our disabled parking will be $50, and if not paying after 10 days, $100. Loading zones are $25, and then they go to $50. Fire hydrants, $25, and they go to $50. No parking areas, i.e. yellow curbs, will be $25, and then they'll go to $50. We changed this on Commissioner Thomas's recommendation, and we reduced the amount for across the line parking, $5, and then it goes to $10. Illegal parking in permitted boat and watercraft trailer parking is $30, and then it goes to $100. But remember with that one, if a boat parking trailer permit is $30. So if you get a fine, we're putting it in the ordinance, it's our policy, and we're putting it in our ordinance, that if you get a fine, your first fine, you bring it in and you buy your permit, then the city manager will waive that fine. So it seems high, but we will waive that first fine if you come and get your permit, and once you get your permit, you should never have a violation again on that. So if you all remember in the summer, there's a lot of jockeying for spaces down there, so we get a lot of complaints in the summer if we have people parking down there who don't have those stickers. The last one is...
Can you stop just for a second?
Sure.
So while we're on that, is that what also covers Sunset Park?
Yes.
Because that's really at the beginning of boat season. Seems like every year we get complaints about people who are using Sunset Park, but parking in spaces that are designated for boat launching.
Right.
That's all I want to ask at this time.
Now,
Yes.
And I just,
what if we run into the issue of a lot of people just getting a boat permit for their car, just for parking on the riverfront?
The sticker goes on your
It
trailer.
goes on the trailer. So it's supposed to be on your
So
trailer.
it's gonna be a
not on your-
$30 fine that anybody parks there, basically.
It's a $30 fine. But remember, it's only illegal during boating season.
Right.
So it's
But
not
if somebody
illegal.
parks there at
if
11
you-
o'clock at night,
Oh.
oh, no, there are hours. I think it's like
only
8 to
During
5.
the daytime hours.
Right,
Yeah.
oh, okay, cool.
yeah.
All right, I'm good with it then.
Okay.
Yeah, the only, like I said, the only issue that we run into, and we really should make, we should look at that area and make sure it's set up the way that we want it to be set up in terms of if we have adequate number adjacent to Sunset Park for people who go and visit Sunset Park. But we tend to, that's a recurring type thing every year. And a lot of times it's, boat docks are pulled out of the water and they're actually put in the only spaces that the cars could park next to sun. It's, if we're gonna enforce this, and I'm not, and I am in favor of enforcing it, just want to make sure that we take a look at it and see if there's anything we can do to make the situation better also, so.
If you remember, we've got our public parking lot down here now that they can park in across the street, so that may help
Yeah,
for that situation.
I think it would, it's just, when you have a van and you have one mother and 4 kids and 2 of them are under the age of 3 and they're trying to go to the park, it gets a little much for them to park diagonal across the street.
Back parking lot, though, we have that access now that we didn't have last year, so that may help some of the issues.
Awesome, awesome.
And then our final thing, and I want to thank Major Conrad, we worked on our 1-ton and over capacity trucks for parking in the CBD. As you know, 1-ton and over trucks are allowed currently to park in the CBD in the middle of the road because there's no room for them to park. But we have a 30-minute time limit to do that. Our current fine for that is $3 if they go over. I believe that fine's from 1982. So our suggestion would be to increase that fine to $25 and double it to $15, which is the same fine that we have for loading zones, if you remember our loading zones.
Have we ever had
yeah.
any issues with that?
Every once in a while, we'll have a truck that will take their stuff out and then maybe go and dine lunch or
Oh.
things like that. And the police come to enforce that.
And
And
fire
so-
trucks.
Fire
do
trucks.
this.
Yeah,
so we're gonna
well-
fine ourselves?
So we are exempted from our own parking ordinance.
Well, I think we should follow our own ordinances if we're gonna have it. I don't care if we're exempt or not.
Yeah. So, well, that's, the current fine is $3. And so our suggestion would be to raise that from $3 to $25, just like other loading zones, and then $50 if they don't pay it within 10. And we had not brought that to you all before. So while we were updating this, we did look at that ordinance and realize we probably want to bring that to you all. So are you all okay with those fines?
Now, who's enforcing these, Nancy?
Nancy will enforce most of them, but police do generally, they're the ones who generally enforce the boat dock, the boat ramps on the weekends. And sometimes we have to call the police for the oversized trucks.
Okay.
It happens very
All right, can I
rarely.
make a recommendation if we do this?
Hmm?
On the loading zones and the yellow curbs,
Yes,
let's issue a warning first for the first month or so. Can we do that?
for the first month that we,
When we enforce this, because,
not the first month every time, but
no,
when this
just,
comes,
just so they know, if you park here again, it's gonna be this fine. Because if you go out at night, every loading zone and every yellow curb, there's
Okay.
somebody parked.
all right, but recognize that downtown parking enforcement ends at 5 o'clock.
Oh, okay, never mind.
But I think you bring a good, but I think Commissioner Thomas brings a good point. We have not done parking enforcement in quite a while. We're gonna have to push it out publicly and let all the business owners know downtown what we're doing. So we gotta advertise.
I'd like to see us give a warning for the first 2 weeks or whatever time period, just so people know that it's gonna be a $25 fine next time this happens. Because somebody got slapped with a $25 fine a couple weeks ago. I got an earful because they've been parking there forever. Yeah. And then they came in and wanted to know why. Yeah. No, take that back. Take that back. It wasn't a fine, they were forced to move. Police came in, found them,
Right.
and forced them to move their
Okay.
vehicle.
That
And
sounds-
people have been parking there forever, so, and like I say, just give a warning, say, this is what's gonna happen next time.
That'll be a rollout out of the city manager's office. We won't write that into the ordinance,
Okay.
though. So
And
if you.
can I ask a
Sure.
question related to loading zones? So if someone has a loading zone,
Mhm.
isn't it possible to have hours on their loading zone capabilities also? Like, if this is considered a loading zone Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, and then outside of that it can be used as a normal parking spot? Can it?
Well, that's normally,
I
that's how
wouldn't-
all
I wouldn't
city,
touch that.
that's how the city parking would be.
Yeah, 'cause the biggest issue, like I have at night, is there are certain loading zones that the businesses still use them after dark,
Yeah,
and people are still parking there. And then they have to come, I mean, they're nice enough to come to each restaurant and ask, can you get, see if there's somebody's parked there so they can move it, otherwise they have to tow it. But there's been a couple instances where they did have to tow them because they couldn't find out who it was.
And that's through the police department, but currently Nancy would not be enforcing that after 5
No,
o'clock.
I'm just saying, just make the loading zones, not certain hours.
Well, so the way that loading zones are currently designated is, the city manager has the authority to designate loading zones. And so the city, that won't be in the ordinance, that would come from the city manager. So if you have people who have loading zones that would like to expand the timing, that would be a city manager, up to the city manager as to how he would like to handle that. But
Yeah, I think
that certainly
the ones I
can.
know of have signs already out there saying,
Right, they get designated, though, you can't just like say, that I want this, my
Right.
loading zone, it has to go through the city manager's office, so that could go to the city manager.
when we do that, is it possible to consider striping them differently also, in addition to the sign? I know that some cities
I
have.
think they are striped different.
Like, some cities have the diagonal stripes
I think
that go
they
through
do.
through the spot.
Don't they?
Not now.
I don't think they are now. Some of them aren't.
We'll take a look.
Yeah,
Okay.
I thought across the street it was striped.
Right, well, we will bring that back to you all at the next meeting for its first reading.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms.
Thanks,
Dunn.
Don.
Thank you.
Sounds like that should go on a work session.
I know, that's right.
Well, I brought it to you once before.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
We haven't
Yes,
solved
ma'am.
this issue in 100
Thank you.
years.
Hey,
It's
but
never gonna solve now.
before we move on to the next steps, is there anyone, or any of the commissioners have any questions or concerns about what Don just put up?
Yeah, I just got one quick one. Rodney, this is, you're downtown. Say like you got a loading zone closer to your business. After 5, say you got a customer that wants to park there. They can't park there?
Well, some of them do. No, but they're not supposed to. Yeah, because you got, like, say, Moats, plumbing. They're in and out all hours of the night. If they get a call, he's got to go get his truck, come out, and sometimes when he's parked in his spot, he can't get in his own garage, so it becomes an issue.
Yeah,
Same
for him.
across with Tony across the street, he's got to come in there at night sometimes, and he can't get in his own building.
I think those are more, curb cuts rather than loading zones. Those are
Yes,
curb
they are
cuts.
curb cuts, yes,
And
yes,
so
yes.
that's a whole different.
Okay.
Okay, if I was just talking about loading zone, after 5, customers can park there.
Nancy's not gonna give them a ticket after.
Yeah, after 5, she's gone, yeah.
Well, I'm just,
Right.
so, but I'm
If
just
you call a
saying,
tow truck, will they come tow them out of this load zone? Is that?
I would think,
I wouldn't think
I would
so.
think so, I would think so for a curb cut,
For a
because
curb-
those are
yes.
actually not parking,
Yeah.
Gotcha.
but not for loading.
Gosh, that would be the only thing just coming out of here that sounds like we make sure that we need to clarify, is that the difference between the curb cuts and the loading zone, and if we're gonna have loading zones that aren't curb cuts, and we would like to have those operate 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, we need to put them on the signage that's out there too, so it makes it clearer for people to know that they can park there if it's after 5 or on a weekend. If that's the desire of the commission.
I think so.
Yeah, loading zone, yeah, especially.
Yeah. Yeah.
The curb cuts, most of them they have signage already, but people ignore it.
Good deal. Well, we've got a motion for executive session, but before we do that, 2 questions. One, Dawn, are we coming out with any action?
Yes, we have one slot.
Okay, we have one small action item afterward. It's probably going to be
I'm assuming.
a pretty lengthy session. And then before we go into that, because we have a few things, I want to go ahead and get the commissioners' comments out of the way, if there are any. Commissioner Thomas, do you have anything today?
Nothing today.
Commissioner Pruitt?
Yeah, I would just like to say, our sign that we put down on the riverfront, it's all over social media.
Yeah.
Well, Henderson, Kentucky, people were taking pictures and everything by it. It was awesome. So,
It was a really good project that came out of that
Sure was.
HLI group. It sure was. Commissioner Witt?
No comments.
All right. Commissioner Bowles?
Just say, good job, everybody in the city with dealing with the eclipse day yesterday. I think everything went pretty smoothly as far as I can tell. So, good work.
I'd like to say, in addition to what you said, I monitor the radio traffic, and I want to say that 911, the police department, I would have to assume it's Indiana State Police or Vanderburgh County Sheriffs. You wouldn't believe the cooperation and communication of moving traffic from Indiana into Kentucky. I just want to say thank you to y'all's efforts in making that happen, and I think what was anticipated did not happen. But thank y'all for what you did and keeping the traffic moving.
and thank you for keeping us updated on how things are flowing.
Great work from our tourist office as well.
Absolutely, yeah. We had there were so many people here from so many different states and countries.
Oh, yes.
There was somebody out at Audubon Park that was from Belgium that was staying at the campground, did not know that there was going to be an eclipse. And they were just there. And, it was really kind of interesting. Yeah, seriously. They were just there, and the eclipse was there, the governor was there, like, wow, I get to do all this stuff, I don't have anything today either. We do have a motion for executive session, though.
I move that the commission go into executive session pursuant to KRS 61.810, subsection B, for discussion that may lead to the future sale of real property located in the vicinity of Water Street and North Elm Street and 6th Street to 2nd Street, and discussion that may lead to future purchase of real property located in the vicinity of Water Street and North Elm Street and 6th Street to 2nd Street, and discussion that may lead to the future sale of real property in the vicinity of Old Cordon Road and US Highway 425, and pursuant to KRS 61.810, subsection C, for discussion of proposed litigation against the city and proposed litigation on behalf of the city.
Man, we got some people reading today. Do we? No. Do we have a second? Do we have a second for that? Second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. 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 We are in executive session. We're going to stay in here too.